What's up guys, welcome to Film and TV Now for the week of 25th of November 2019. And if you didn't know, it's Thanksgiving in the States, which means it's a really slow news week, which also means that this week's news show is kind of cobbled together with, well, not a lot. I'm not complaining too much though, it means I've got less editing to do afterwards. So let's get straight into it to the probably a very short episode of Film and TV Now. The king of pop, whose name you can no longer say and whose music you can no longer play in certain regions in the world, is getting a biopic. I'm talking about Michael Jackson, if you couldn't tell. John Logan, writer of Penny Dreadful and co-writer of Skyfall and Spectre, is writing this with the producer of Bohemian Rhapsody. No studio is attached yet. This is from Empire's James White. This is one of them movies where you've got to tread really carefully. Do you focus on his music? Do you focus on his career? The beginning of his career? The end of his career? There's tons of opportunities there for stories. But then how do you handle all the controversies surrounding the man himself? Because let's face it, some people don't believe them. Do you make a film that takes a stance one way or another, confirms it one way or another? Or do you try to ignore it altogether or remain a bit ambiguous? And what do you do about casting? There's a bunch of racial issues there that could be brought up depending on who you cast as Michael Jackson. This is probably the one instance where it really does matter if you're black or white. Remember what happened to Joseph Fiennes? Yeah, let's try to avoid that sort of thing this time around. But the be-all end-all is I'm glad I'm not the one making this film, because this sounds like a huge argument just waiting to happen. I hope you like DC Comics based movies because Warner Brothers is planning to do quite a bit more of them. Fingers crossed they're not quality wise similar to Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, and they're closer to maybe like Wonder Woman, Aquaman and Shazam. Variety's Brent Lang and Justin Kroll state that if the upcoming Batman film works and is a success, then we could see some of the villains getting their own movie in the future. For Superman though, things are less clear. The studio has spoken to big names like J.J. Abrams on how to move forward with a Superman film. Actor Michael B. Jordan has also pitched a new iteration of the Man of Steel, but he's too busy to commit to it right now. Current assumptions place a future Superman film in 2023 at the earliest. So, at least when it comes to scheduling, it seems the Man of Steel isn't quite as solid as we thought. I'm fine with it. Give him a break. We are, after all, getting a Superman TV show in the future with Lois Lane in there too. The recent success of Joker, which was an R-rated movie, also means that we're probably going to get more R-rated movies in the DC cinematic universe in the future. Birds of Prey coming out in February, and The Suicide Squad from James Gunn coming out sometime next year, I think. Both of those are expected to be R-rated. And I think that's because when you have two films that could go either way quality-wise and in terms of how many people go to see the films, throw in some F-bombs, throw in some raunchy jokes and good action scenes and hope that it distracts away from the quality a bit if it is indeed a bad movie. Here's hoping James Gunn's version of The Suicide Squad is at least better than the last version, although that won't be hard. Green Lantern Corps, the long-awaited Green Lantern movie in this DC cinematic universe, is expected to start production fairly soon, in the next year or so maybe. Jeff Johns, famed comic book writer, is planning on releasing his script to Warner Brothers by the end of this year, 2019. And they're hoping that J.J. Abrams will at least produce it, but they're really wanting him to direct it as well. Clearly, Warner Brothers just wants J.J. Abrams in some capacity, because his name keeps popping up here and there. Then there's The Flash, or the Flashpoint Paradox, depending on which version of the film they're still trying to make. Currently, IT director Andy Muschietti, whose name I hope I've just pronounced right, is attached to direct the Flash movie. But it's not scheduled to start production until at least 2021 because Ezra Miller is too busy filming Fantastic Beasts, and he's a busy boy. It's ironic, the one movie they're not in any real hurry to finish or do is The Flash. And finally, they're doing a spin-off to Aquaman, focusing on the characters and creatures in The Trench. Finally, a film about The Trench, the long-awaited film about The Trench, which we've all known and loved for years and years, and we've all been asking for years and years. Oh, wait, no, that's wrong. No one's asked for this at all. Why is this a thing? There's way more to this article as well. I would really encourage you to check it out. It goes on about how Warner Brothers rushed some of the production of previous films, how they were trying to compete with Marvel, and how they just didn't have an overall creative vision. So check it out if you're really interested. There's some interesting bits and bobs in there. Final story of this really slow news week is The Invisible Woman. Angering all the right-wing sexist macho men in the world, Elizabeth Banks is going to be directing The Invisible Woman, a new take on the Invisible Man monster horror franchise, not to be confused with the upcoming Invisible Man film coming out next year starring Elizabeth Moss. It's interesting because Elizabeth Banks is coming off another film starring women who are all but invisible, and it was a big flop, and it wasn't very good. Look out for my review of that next week sometime. I do like Elizabeth Banks, but it's just interesting how they're putting so much devotion into this project of hers, considering her recent one didn't pan out that well. And sadly, that's all the news I've got this week. It is a slow news week because of Thanksgiving. I hope you've enjoyed this show to some extent. If you have, subscribe to my channel. The more subscribers I get, the more content like this I can make. And of course, leave comments and feedback down below. Let me know what you thought of all these news stories, what your thoughts are on the future of DC movies, The Invisible Woman, and the Michael Jackson biopic. Also, go over to Twitter and Instagram, follow me at @the_Grant Burton. I post content there regularly. If you do follow me on there, you'll notice I'm probably posting opinions and views on films way before I can get them out onto my YouTube channel. So if you just want a little heads up or a head start or whatever, go over there, follow me on that. Until next time though, thanks for watching.